Many things actually have an impact on whether you're able to get rich or not. From the skills you learn, to the books you read, to how you think, and well, yeah, the things going on in that big mind of yours. You might have never really thought of it before, but do you know that there are some mental errors you're making that are stopping you from becoming rich? Well, there are quite a couple of them, and in today's video, we'll be shedding more light on these errors so that you know which ones you're making and how to deal with them. Stay tuned. If you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel for more amazing content like this. Now let's get right into the errors you need to know. Number 1. You worry about things outside your control. This is something quite common among many of us. Worrying is just a simple way through which our mind tries to protect us from everything. Most times you'd find that you even worry about things that are non-existent or things that you're yet to encounter. However, the truth is that the moment you stop worrying about too many things and only focus on the little things in front of you, the better your chances of living a fulfilled life without stress. When you worry about things, it tends to tell on your body, and that's why most people always come down with something after several hours of thinking. Number 2. You don't motivate yourself. One of the very big mistakes that you're likely making is that you wait for motivation to strike you, instead of looking for ways to empower yourself and get things done. When things are not going great, you just sit back and wait for something to prompt you towards doing the right thing, rather than picking yourself up and being your own personal motivator. When you like it or not, self-motivation will always come first, and it's a crucial step that will help you towards being rich. Number 3. You expect everyone to think like you. People will always have different ways to react to things. They won't necessarily do things the way you do, and the reason is quite simple. Everyone is different. Because of this, you cannot expect people to always think like you, even when you'd naturally expect a particular reaction. Just like you're the boss of yourself, others also have minds of their own, and they only follow their own ideas and principles. Also, you shouldn't expect people to read your mind. As far as we know, mind readers exist only in movies, and if you have anything you think someone should know, then you should let them know and not hide it. Number 4. You're too scared to lose. Many people tend to play things safe and protect what they have, rather than taking a big risk and winning big. This is what loss aversion simply is about. You would rather keep your $100 with you and spend it on something instead of risking it, which could either end up in a gain or a loss. This is one of the very things that differentiate rich people from poor people, and it's also why there are only just a few rich people in the world as compared to the whole population. Number 5. You tell yourself you're right. This is something you must have seen with quite a number of people you know. This happens in such a way that when something happens, they try to justify their actions, even though wrong, and then shift the blame on the other party. This point is also known as cascade denial. You'd hear people often say things like, if it happened, then it wasn't me, or if it did, then they deserved it. Even though it does feel like they do know they're wrong, they still justify it and instead play the blame game. Number 6. You lack self-control. It's almost like the world works in such a way that when you have money, there are really only options to spend it. It's at that time you'd remember one device you don't have, or a dress you really want, or a car you should be driving. Regardless of this, you shouldn't make the mistake of falling for this temptation and then losing all your money. While you crave for satisfaction, you should evaluate your needs before going in to make unnecessary spending. Number 7. The sunk cost fallacy. While this does sound like some really interesting principle out of economics class, the sunk cost fallacy is one of the reasons why many people are stuck doing what they're doing and they're not rich. The phenomenon is a case whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or a course of action because they've invested heavily in it, even though it's quite clear that abandonment would be more beneficial. For context, it's when you start a business that is not booming, but because you've already put so much into it, you don't agree to leave it or switch up with another idea. It's also when you've gone to college and you've also gotten a degree, and even though you cannot find any jobs with your degree, you stick to it because you really studied hard and spend so much getting that degree. This phenomenon is one that has quite disturbed many people, and is one very big mistake that people make. When things don't work, don't be afraid to leave it and move on to something that would work for you. Number 8. You're focused on the immediate future. Even though investing your money and then seeing how it goes for several years, when you start reaping huge rewards is a more beneficial choice, many people would rather do something different. It cannot be disputed that saving up or investing for a long time can be quite hard to do because within that time, many people would turn out to be impatient. I mean, why invest when I can need the money soon, right? Well, this is a wrong way to look at your investments, and in most cases, you even get to spend the money on things that are worthless. Your mind is only making up questions like, what if I need that money? Because you would rather have that money and spend it instead of not having access to it for a while. This also goes further to reference point number 4. Number 9. You rely on what feels right to you. This is something that many of us do, and it's also something that the internet and social media has quite given room for. Whether you're in a conversation or an argument, you always want to feel right, and that's why you'd even go to the length of checking up facts that match what you believe in, without considering whether it's right or wrong. Almost anything can be justified on the internet these days, and that's why it's a tool that helps with this. Instead of doing this though, you can try to give much thought to the opinions of others and then analyze the argument again. While some of these mistakes are quite common, many people don't know how damaging it is for their chances of being rich. And what's even more interesting is that some people do it unconsciously. And well, it's just really how the mind works. Your mind might tend to play tricks on you, but in the end, just try to avoid falling for them. Which of these errors do you think has impacted you the most? Let us know in the comment section. If you also enjoyed the video, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, then you should also check out 9 massive mistakes you make while learning.